am curious about sort of, what you think Elon is going to try to articulate on this conference call. A money-losing business, but obviously a ton of potential up ahead for what this business can be. There is a salesmanship job that has to go on, not just today, but probably over the next few months and quarters. You think he's going to be able to do it?
Well, he's a pretty darn good salesman with a pretty strong track record. But look, I think this is going to be high drama because the share price down 13% from the IPO, but down 50% from its peak. So they've got their work cut out for them. I think what they're going to argue here is, look, they're an incredible growth engine that SpaceX on track to double from 18.7 billion in 2025. This year looks like they're going to hit 38 billion. And I think he's going to say we're probably going to double again next year. He's going to focus on being a market leader. SpaceX is dominant in launch. 51% of all launches in the world are SpaceX craft. Starlink, very profitable, growing 80%. He's got a good growth story. But I think investors are going to walk away with three questions. How quickly can SpaceX and Starlink continue to grow? Can SpaceX AI really break in with the big boys, Anthropic, OpenAI, and Google? I think they can, but that's going to be heavy lifting. And then the third point that most people aren't talking about a lot, but this is a bit of a different IPO where shareholders can sell 20% of their holdings within 90 days tomorrow. And so one of the questions out here is going to be, how many people are going to hit the exits early? A lot to unpack. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and it's the 20% obviously this week. I think you get 28 to 30% more after the Q3. So this is going to be something that's going to dog this stock for a while. But give me a sense here. I mean, you sort of rattle off the businesses themselves, and no one's doubting Starlink. I think Starship, despite some of the hiccups, most people, the consensus is that this will sort of come through to full fruition. I think some of the concern has been about Elon bolting on a lot of other things. So let's just take XAI, a $1.3 trillion valuation for a money-losing company. What is an investor betting on if they have to take in XAI with it? Where does XAI fit into this into the total equation?
Look, AI is the fastest growing sector of the global economy. No one has ever seen anything like Anthropic and OpenAI before. Musk is saying we can play with those guys, and I think they're showing the initial steps to do that. But it's going to not be cheap. They're talking about losses are growing from 15 billion a year to 30 billion a year. Some analysts are saying they might burn through as much as 300 billion before the end of the decade. So he's going to have to show rapid growth in the number of users. He's going to have to show they can sell into both the individual and the B2B market. This is not going to be easy. I dare say, I think it's a lot easier to beat General Motors and Ford in the electric car sector than it is to tackle Anthropic, OpenAI, and Google. So we'll see if he can do it. You hate to bet against Elon Musk.
I have to ask you about Tesla itself, because there's a lot of speculation that at some point Tesla might end up getting folded into SpaceX. You know this company from its startup days. It's obviously struggled as of late a little bit, but then I think about Grok. It's in Tesla cars. Starlink, I think, is part of the Cybercab. There's a shared chip fab in Texas. I mean, you add it all up. Those are just three things, Steve. I mean, come on. It's not far-fetched to think that at some point Musk will just wake up one day and say, wait, we're just going to do this. And he'll do it at 420, I'm sure, somewhere.
Look, at 420, there you go. Now, look, I mean, he all but said in the last annual meeting that there are, quote, many collaborations with SpaceX, especially with Tesla, especially Terafab. And look, the number of synergies here is huge. There's synergies on chips, memory, compute, especially on energy. Now SPX Colossus uses microgrids powered by Tesla Mega Packs for load smoothing. Keep in mind, we're in the time of the greatest energy demand increase in history, and Tesla's one of the biggest battery sellers in the world, energy companies. So there are a lot of synergies. It would make this combined entity of SpaceX and Tesla the largest firm in the world almost overnight. I would guess that would be nearly irresistible to him. But the big questions are, would regulators approve, and would there be complicating issues like would Tesla be forced to divest their Chinese factory, which, by the way, produces just over half of all Teslas. So a lot to unpack. These are not easy things, but yeah. I can tell you more than a few people are thinking about that one.
I am curious. I mean, you joined Tesla when it was still a private company, and there was a lot of pie in the sky predictions about what it could do. Running a public company, running a private company with the ambitions of long-term projects that could take years, if not decades, to complete is a lot different than running a public company where every quarter you're going to have a bunch of folks on Wall Street demanding answers here. So when I hear Mars and humanoid robots and the data centers in space, I mean, that's not happening this year. It may not be happening next year. Do you think that investors will give him a long enough leash to sort of get to those sort of multi-year, maybe even multi-decade projects?
So that's the big question. Look, in the early innings here, people are excited. They want to be excited. This is someone who is perhaps the greatest entrepreneur in history, and he's got a pretty decent, not perfect, but a pretty strong track record of accomplishment. So a lot of people are pulling for him. But no investors, patience is eternal. And so they're going to be looking at Tesla, they're going to be looking at SpaceX, they're going to be saying, are we hitting the numbers? And I think we're all going to start to understand how many satellites does Starlink have? Right now, it's just under 11,000. How long is it going to take to get to 20,000? How many users do they have for broadband usage? How many people are using XAI instead of Android or Anthropic and OpenAI? Everybody is going to be tracking these numbers like crazy, and Elon, over time, is going to have to produce like anybody else. And the numbers to track are how fast are they growing? Right now, pretty darn fast, 100% year over year. The next question is going to be, what's that path to profitability? If it's $300 billion burned, that's going to test investors' patience. We'll have to see how it's going to all shake out.